Hi, I'm Dave Johnson, and I've got the good pleasure of being able to call Richard Brooke my friend. And
you are, buddy.
Absolutely. And we both live in beautiful Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, at least you sometimes.
In the summer.
Yeah, in the summer. But anyway, what we wanted to talk about is something that could change your whole life. There's really nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come. I love that phrase. And one of the things I think is really amazing is this idea. In fact, it's actually a debate I hear going back and forth about the influence that a person can have on another. And of course, people will say that, yes, that's true, but I think one of the big things is this idea that can you motivate another person? Mm-hmm. And I really think that's what leadership is all about, is the influence, a positive influence. And you say it so well in here. I just got to read this. Okay, this is a common thing that people say. You can't motivate other people. And Richard says nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, the highest paid professionals on the planet get paid to motivate other people. It is a high art, starting with motivating ourselves. Of course, that's a big thing. The hardest person to lead is yourself, isn't it?
Yeah. We're stubborn.
Yeah. Anyway, it is a high art, starting with motivating ourselves. And if I were to ask you what you would love to do tomorrow, and if you had 3 magic wishes, your conversation with yourself would change. Your mind movie would change. Your body chemistry would change as you simply answered the question, painting a beautiful vision of what you want as though it were happening. And that's one of my favorite thoughts as far as leadership, is the enthusiastic communication of your vision. Now, one of the other things I like about ideas is you can take someone else's idea, and we've heard this, and this changed my whole life, is the statement that who you associate with, the books you read, things that you put in your mind by listening can change everything, because we do become what we think about, and we can direct our lives by directing our thoughts. And why not direct our lives by purposefully choosing good books to read? I can highly recommend this delightful book, Mach 2 with Your Hair on Fire. Now, another book I think is really powerful is The 4-Year Career. And what does that mean, Richard? 4-year career?
Well, you know, the concept, Dave, actually started in 1979. You and I have been doing this for a long time.
That was only 3 years ago.
Right, so some of your listeners were going, 1979, it sounds like history. But in 1979, I was, I guess I was 24 years old. I was living in Des Moines, Iowa, and I was trying, optimal word, trying to build a network. And wasn't having any success. People weren't listening to me. And so I got this wild idea. I didn't go to college, so I suppose I always thought a little bit about, well, what if I would have gone to college? And so I got this crazy idea that I would go down to Drake University in Des Moines, Iowa, and I would approach the kids that were going to school, because I knew for a fact, even though I wasn't doing it, because I knew people who were doing it. Mm-hmm. I knew if people spent way less time every week building a network marketing business than they did studying in college, that 4 years later, they'd have a business. Like if they just spent like 10 hours a week, 4 years later, they'd have a thriving business. So I went to Des Moines, to Drake University, and I interviewed all the people that were majoring in marketing. And I asked them a bunch of questions, like how many hours a week did you spend as a freshman? And how many hours a week did you spend as a sophomore? And how many hours junior and senior? And then the pivotal question I asked them is, how much money do you expect to earn your 5th year? So you invested all this time and all this money, what do you expect to earn? And of course, the average back then was like $35,000 a year, their 5th year. And so what I proposed to these Drake marketing majors was, what if you just spent 10 hours a week building a network marketing business, mine, is what I proposed to them. What if you could graduate from college? So it wasn't a do this instead of college, it was do it while you're going to college. What if you could graduate from college and you didn't have to take the first job? Mm-hmm. You didn't even have to live where you thought you had to live. What if you graduated from college and you had a $30,000 or $40,000 a year residual income. So what I thought about that was all freedom-based and choice-based. What kind of different choices would we have all made, all of us, let's say, that went to college, which wasn't me, if you graduated from college with a $30,000 or $40,000, which in today's money might be 10 grand a month, income? Like, where would you live different? What kind of career would you have different? So it was all a freedom concept. And that's where I coined the phrase, the 4-year career. So you actually can do this business for 4 years. And if you do it right, for the rest of your life, you can do whatever you want. Which for you and I was to continue to do this, because we love it. But maybe other people want to go do something else, but they can't do it because they don't have the residual income. So that's where the concept came from, and I showed that kind of course. None of the Drake students got involved at all. They said, that's crazy, it doesn't make any sense. We want to party, we don't want to work part-time. So, but I kept presenting it to people over the years, and it caught on, and then I started filming the presentation, and then I wrote this book about 10 years ago that kind of lays the whole concept out. Like, how could you actually do something for 4 years on a part-time basis, and the 5th year have total financial freedom? Doesn't mean you're rich, but gosh, if you're just making 5 or 10 grand a month, think about the freedom of choice that you have to make other choices.
Well, this is such a powerful thought right here. And again, when you first look at this, the 4-year career, you think, oh, is that it? I'm going to only work 4 years. It's basically the idea that if you want to start any business, that's typically about how long it takes to build a business. And the advantage of this, when you read this, when you look at this concept, I believe it's the most pure, clean, equitable, fun. People that do business or invest, the ideal thing is what might be called asymmetrical as far as the risk and the reward. Minimize the risk, maximize the reward, and the ultimate would be no exposure financially or anything, day to day, no downside at all. And this has that, because the worst thing that'll happen moment by moment is somebody's going to say no thank you, and if you can overcome that psychological trauma of somebody saying no thank you, just learn not to take it personal, that's part of the process. And in fact, I look at that as job security. You know, if everybody said yes, it'd be easy, and easy always just doesn't pay very good. And so don't ask for it to be easy, just ask for it to be worth it. But over time, day to day, no risk, and yet each time you talk to somebody, it could be, yes, I'd like to buy some product, or yes, I'd like to join you in business, or the worst thing is, no thank you. And then just the numbers, the magic of doing that day after day. And then instead of going to school, which in most universities I know, they don't pay you a lot while you're going to school. In fact, it's the other way around. Right. You're paying them a lot, and by the time you're done with 4 years, not only are you just getting started, but now they want to start getting that loan money back, which could be $100,000. And so the thing that's really exciting about this is just day to day, you could actually be in a positive cash flow your very first month in this business. I've seen that happen again and again. Very typically, your first year, you could be making an extra $500 to $1,000 a month realistically. Second year, more so. Definitely by the 4th year, if you stay with it just consistently, this idea of not just go to work, get paid, but actually in a business where you have leverage. And I think that's one of the most powerful ideas in business, is not just to buy your own job and you go to work and that's it, but actually sharing an idea and teaching that to others, having a system. And that's the thing, the genius of this book is it has the education of how it works, but by giving it to someone else, then this is the recipe for them to bake the same cookies, and they can bake the same, and teaching other people to teach other people how to teach them how to teach people. Wow. And then to work within the arena of a good company, so you don't have the inventory, the cash flow problems. You know, you don't even need a business license. Wow. I just, you know, all upside, no downside, day to day, just having all the fun. And Could it possibly be that good? My experience is as it is. Other than that psychological trauma of people saying no thanks or whatever, but powerful stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very unique income opportunity. It has its built-in challenges. So in the beginning, like maybe the first year, a person might work a lot harder than they think they're getting paid in commensurate.
Probably.
So, you know, you might figure out, I don't know, maybe you're making $2 or $3 an hour or whatever. You might work really hard to make $500 a month your first year in the business. But, and of course, what happens is people, they look like every day, they look at, well, how hard am I working? Who's saying yes? Who's saying no? How much money am I making? At the end of every month, they look at their check and they go, oh my gosh, I made $237 and I went to all these events and I was on all these calls. But here's the thing, this is what separates the women from the girls and the men from the boys in network marketing. It separates the people, the entrepreneurs, from the wannabes, is this concept. In the beginning of network marketing, you get paid a lot less than you're worth in terms of your worth to go out and spread the word about a product and an opportunity. But if you stick it out and you let the numbers build under you, somewhere around the second or third or maybe the fourth year, everything changes. And now you're getting paid a lot more than you're worth, right? I mean, in one sense, like in how many hours you put in. And so I think you and I, Dave, we get paid a lot more than we're worth in terms of what we do all day long and all week long. And we've been getting paid a lot more than we're worth for decades. And that's the unique opportunity of this business is if you're willing to put in a year or two, like pay your dues, like be an entrepreneur, like Dave said, don't have it be easy, have it be worth it. The worth it part is on the other side. You get paid way more than you're worth for the rest of your life. And so the reason that I wrote this book and the reason we have this book as a tool is what we have found. What Dave and I have found this throughout our entire careers. When somebody says no to you, hey, you want to look at my income opportunity, and they say, no, I don't have time, I don't have the money, I don't like to do those kind of things. What we've learned is they're not saying no to more money. You know, go ask 100 people, would you like to earn more money? Would you like your paycheck to be increased? Lindsay behind the camera. Lindsay, would you like a raise?
Yes, please.
She said yes, please, without hesitation. So what we've come to know about human beings is almost all of them would like more abundance, more freedom, more options, more security. They'd like more money. So when you go offer somebody an income opportunity in network marketing and they say, no, I don't have time, I don't have money, blah, 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 they're not saying they don't want to earn more money. What we've found they're saying is they don't really understand what we do, how the model works. And they do have a perception about it, which is 70 years worth of people inviting them to take a look. And
people doing it wrong.
Totally wrong. Yeah. I mean, being rude, being obnoxious, being, you know, pushy or over-promising, oh, you're going to get rich and you don't even have to work or anything. People don't believe that stuff. So the concept behind this book is, and I found this to work over and over and over again, instead of asking people to look at my company or look at my products or, hey, join me, we're going to make a lot of money, what I ask them to do is look at this book. Take you 30 minutes to go through this book. You don't have to like read the whole thing. Just like read the quotes and read some of the concepts and look at some of the graphics and understand a little bit about what's going on. My experience is if somebody will spend 30 or 45 minutes with this book and then I ask them, hey, you want to talk about how this might fit into your life? The answer is totally different. They don't all say yes, but they don't give me that flippant, oh, I don't want to do that, I don't have time, I don't have money, because they understand the business model the way you and I understand the business model. And think about this. If I'd have gone up to you a week before you got involved in Nikken, before you ever heard about it, before you decided, okay, I'm going to do this, if I'd have gone to you a week before you made that decision and I'd say, hey, what do you think about getting involved in one of those MLM things selling magnets? What would you have said? My
That
bet is,
doesn't really stir the juices for
no,
most people.
I think you would have said, I don't have time, I don't have money, I don't do those kind of things. But look, you ended up being one. How'd that happen? How it happened is you met somebody that told you the story in a way that you could hear it. And so that got through your bias. And why? Because you did want to make more money and you did want to be healthier, live longer, and be more vital in your life. Everybody wants those things. So our products are relevant and our opportunity is relevant. What's not relevant is the way people talk about it. They talk about it in a way that turns people off, confuses people. So the idea behind this book is, don't talk about Nikken, don't talk about the products until you get somebody to read this book. Now, why would they read this book? Well, if I'm talking to you and I'm asking you questions and I invite you to go to Bliss Business and find this webinar, it's called The Authentic Inviter. Can they find that on Bliss Business, Lindsay? Well, Dave will send it to you.
Well, we'll get the link to you.
Go find the, apparently you have to pay for it in most circles, but I'm going to give it to Dave and he's going to give it to you. And you go watch that webinar about how to be curious about people and ask them questions and really listen to their answers. And what you're going to find is everybody has an unfulfilled financial need or want. They need more money for something. Kids for college, vacation, pay off their debts, something. They need more money. And instead of telling them about Nikken, when you find out they need more money, just say, hey, you know, I'm reading this book. And this book is teaching me how to work part-time for 4 years and get paid full-time for the rest of my life, or something like that.
But it's so exciting. It was a turning point in my life when I started thinking of myself as a business owner.
Yep.
And I've got a really good friend. He lives in England, and we were talking about the American dream. And of course, we just had 4th of July, and what is the American dream? I would believe it's most people, the thought is, one of these days I'd love to be in business for myself. So often that never happens because of the huge cost. Who's going to show me how to do the business? The scariness of quitting that job and going into work typically 60, 70, 80 hours a week. And again, also waiting before you get a positive cash flow, 3-4 years, because everything is a 4-year career pretty much, and that takes that long to make it in any kind of business. And then this I don't know. This is just such a good idea. You were mentioning earlier about you don't get paid very much at first. Well, that's the way business is. And I think, okay, regular jobs, go to work, you get paid. Go to work, you get paid. This starting out, it really is go to work, go to work, go to work, go to work, get paid a little bit, go to work, go to work. But then 4 years from now, it's go to work, get paid, get paid, get paid, get paid. And this is one of the most powerful thoughts right there. Would you kind of talk about that just a little bit? Because
this graphic,
instead of a linear, in the power of exponential income, being an exponential entrepreneur.
Yeah, it's what makes network marketing the magic income opportunity. I mean, there's all kinds of businesses you can get into, but most of them are going to require a full-time effort, like 60, 70 hours a week. They're going to require 10 to a $500,000 investment that's just not applicable to people. And I don't personally know that the American dream is to own a business. Maybe it is. I think more the American dream is freedom. And most Americans are not free. They're slaves to the economic system in our country.
And most people that are free own a business.
Right. Because that's how you can like scale and get up on top of the power curve. But you know, if you have a job, which is fine, we need people to have jobs, because if everybody has a business,
so you can make someone else free.
We can't have everybody going to being entrepreneurs. We want everybody to mow our lawns. If your dream is to have a job and just have that security, and you know, not like maybe have the responsibilities of a business and a lot of other people, that's super cool. But I'll bet you worry about, like, how am I going to retire? How am I going to send my kids to college? How am I going to pay off these debts? the economy in the United States is a difficult economy for people that have jobs to scale and get up on top of that power curve and have some security and some freedom. But here's how you can do it in network marketing. The magic to network marketing is it's not linear, it's geometric. And what does that mean? Well, in 1946, every time I tell this story, Kimmy, my wife, she cringes. She doesn't like the history of network marketing. I love the history of it. In 1946, this company called Nutrilite disrupted the direct selling industry. You know what that concept is, disrupted. They came up with something creative that nobody had ever thought of before, nobody had the courage to do before. And they totally disrupted how direct selling worked. Instead of having territories, which was all linear income, and then instead of being appointed to a position before you could have a sales force, they just got nuts, they got crazy. They just said, what if we let every salesperson recruit other salespeople and have their own team? Which was a very disruptive rule. It was kind of like Uber today. Everybody's going, oh no, you can't do that. I mean, it's like Airbnb. These companies, billions and billions of dollars created through a disruptive idea. And this is what happened in 1946 with Nutrilite, or California Vitamins. Is they invented the concept that every distributor gets to have a sales force if they want one. So if I put you in the business today, Dave, this afternoon, if you join me this afternoon, you and I can go out and we can talk to Lindsay. Mm-hmm. And now she's on your sales team. Now pay attention to this. Not only can Dave go out and get somebody else this evening, but Lindsay can get somebody this evening.
That's powerful.
And I can get somebody else. So the concept, the mathematical concept is compounding, which Einstein called the eighth wonder of the world, or geometric progressions. But it's really, if you think about it in nature, it's the way things grow in a viral nature. It's like how rabbits multiply, it's how lily pads multiply. And what it gives you is that scalability of you having a small business, but having 20 people on your team that you get paid on their efforts. And then they turn into 20. And then they turn into 40. And then they turn into 100. And then they turn into thousands. And you're still kind of doing the same thing you've always been doing. Talking to a few people, having a few meetings, sharing your story, and one of the videos you're going to see on this email we're going to send you is Adam Green, 28 years old, 60,000 people on his team. And he's been doing this 5 years with this book. Watch his video. See the potential.
His concept is a lot like Nikken. The company has the same kind of heart, yep. Very product oriented, and his
25-year-old company.
Yeah, and his thought basically is, hey, you're going to use this stuff anyway. You're going to share it with the people that you love. Why not do it strategically, purposefully, and read this book, and this shows you how. And I think that's the genius when you want to multiply, especially if you want to multiply fast, is systemize and take it off of you as much as possible and turn it into a system. Yep. And pretty much this is all a very complete system right there. Pass the book out as a recruiting tool. They read the book, they see the concept, and that becomes the system as well. And it just kind of organically unfolds.
So here's the system. This is the Royal Ambassador edition. This is the Nikken edition of the 4-year career. Dave and I put together a special offer for you. You buy 10 of these, you only pay $20.
I think one of the powers in making things work really good is if these were $100 a piece, that would be hard to move it out. Right. And so if you want to have a big harvest, you want to plant lots of seeds. And if your seed is inexpensive, you can afford to plant a lot. And so thank you, Richard.
So here's the idea. Buy 10 of these, $20, get them out in the world.
What if you bought 20? Would that be okay?
That would double your potential upside.
Plant more seeds, get more harvest maybe.
What if you bought 40?
What if?
So here's the idea. You get however many you can afford to get, and over the next 30 days, just think about doing this. Just get this book in the hands of somebody that you want to talk to about your business, and ask them to read it. And give them a couple of days to do it. And then just think about these as like apple seeds. You got them all over town. You got these books all over town. And instead of following up with people about product and a particular company, follow up with them about whether or not they've read the book that you loaned them. And some of them won't read it. And the ones that will read it, not all of them will be interested. But you're going to be shocked, the people that read this book, how receptive they are to hearing about your opportunities. So your job really is put the books all over town with people that have agreed to read it. Just don't give it to them. You got to have a conversation with them and have them say, yeah, I'll read it. And then just follow up with them. And if they don't read it or if they're not interested, take the book back and go give it to somebody else.
What a concept. Now, I think one of the most powerful thoughts, if you can get your head around this, is that most people know about network marketing, but it's really most people think they know about network marketing. They've been miseducated. If they really understood what this was, or if they thought, if it really was what they think it was, I probably would be interested in it either. And so this basically, our job is to educate people, let them know what this really is, and what a wonderful, just very easy to read. It pulls you in. It's an interesting book.
So hit the link that we sent you in this email and go get yourself 10, 20, 30, or 40 books. Put them out in your marketplace, follow up with them, and then let Dave know how it worked for you.
Just one other thought. You mentioned one of my favorite words because it's a big word, disrupt. And when you think about the word disrupt in a very real way, kind of like Charles Dickens, this was the best of times, this was the worst of times. It's both of these in business. In a lot of ways, it's the worst of times for a lot of big businesses that are locked in and they're hard to move around. The biggest business that there is right now, arguably, is quote, health, which is really sick. And you think about in terms, you Google health crises, millions and millions of hits with all kinds of scary stuff going on. One of the big things is it's the #3 cause of death. Health care is the #3 cause of death.
100,000 people a year die in hospitals from infections or the wrong medicine or
all kinds of things.
Yeah, that's like twice as many as died in the Vietnam War.
Yeah, watch any drug commercial. Half of it is all of the bad things that can happen, and if you slow that down and actually listen, pretty much all of those sound worse than
what you have.
And it's just really scary. And I just really believe we have a better way. And when you talk about disrupt, of all the industries that need disrupting, a couple of other words is demonetize. That costs too much. Is there a better way and a less expensive way? Democratize. That's another really good word in business. Where instead of, like you mentioned, $10,000 to upwards of $1 million to start a business, how about $100 to start a business? So it's a golden moment to be in the right business. If you got products that work, there's a market for it, and then a system to use that's easy to teach and multiply out. All of a sudden, if you've got a product that I believe is unsurpassed, an immeasurable market, perfect timing, and then some gumption and belief, and then just go out there.
Make it happen.
It's a golden moment.
It is. Thank you, Dave.
Richard, thank you. Thank you for
welcome.
the good deal. Let's get the word out.